signed up for feels that way, and they don't even like say anything to initiate it. They just are, and someone's attacking them for who they are without even being provoked.
Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Help is on the way, dear.
Did he make it in? Did he get all 20? Yes, way to go. If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, be interviewed, and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent. Yeah, get him.
There you go.
Welcome to Invite Sent. Boom! Welcome. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live on Instagram and Twitch and YouTube and Twitter and Kick and Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you guys for being here. I've got a fun show today. We're going to play a little Tekken 7. And sadly, I'm going to play on my keyboard. And we're going to bring in our guest right now because we're already jumping into a game. I'm going to bring in PaulyHype. PaulyHype, what's up, bro?
Woohoo! What's going on, Bubba? Thank you so much for the invite, man.
Let's go, man. Look, we're already in a match. I'm
gonna match you on keyboard here, Bubba.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna match you here. Okay.
I'm hitting J, K, U, and I, and I'm
so
the
WSAD, and then I think it's
U is high punch.
They have a little bit different buttons here.
Oh, I'm kicking. So it looks like my kick is my J, my K, my U, and my I are punches. Oh my.
Woo!
Okay.
Well, my punch on Tekken 8, my punch is my grab on this one. So, okay. One I is a punch. Oh, I and O.
U, I. Okay, mine is okay.
Yours is different.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's because I changed some of my buttons. That's
Dude,
fine.
I played so much Tekken something at Mazio's Pizza in Oklahoma back in, I have no idea when, like the 2000s or something. And it was the block people. And I always
like
paid.
Yeah,
and it was horrible graphics. But this is way
1, 2, 3.
This is way different. I love this. And us being able to play online is actually really cool.
Yeah, and also, Tekken 8 is even just, I know we didn't have that one since it's a little bit newer, but Tekken 8 is another one where just the graphic processing is just through the roof. And that's kind of why I was pushing for Tekken, is just, not only is it kind of a genre that I come from in fighting games, but it's also just, I've always loved the graphics of Tekken. Always been a great game. Nice.
So have you played Tekken much? Or Tekken 7 at least?
I never played Tekken 7. So me and you are the first two to touch fists here on Tekken 7. But I have been messing around on Tekken 8 for I've only streamed and played Tekken 8 since it launched on like December 30th or something. So I've been grinding Tekken a little bit.
Okay. Well, we got Kyle in the chat. What's up, Kyle? Kyron over on Instagram watching some. What's up, bro? How's college? So let's go back here. What was your first video game you ever played?
Man, the very first video game I ever played was regular Nintendo Entertainment System. And I remember being about 5 years old. My little sister was 3, and my dad brought home this entertainment system. And my older sisters had bought it for me, and I had Popeye. I had Jaws, the movie game.
No way.
Yeah, those were my first ever games I played, and of course, I had Duck Hunt, Super Mario.
Yeah.
The classics, but nice, good sweep. So it was my dad made me play with my little sister as much as possible, so we would play. But we would play like Popeye, and it was actually a 2-player game, so it was kind of like a Super Mario knockoff a little bit, just with the Popeye universe.
Nice.
So that started me with everything in terms of Nintendo Entertainment.
I got the faster mouse and key buttons here. So you might have some lag. I'm just mashing buttons. I'm literally mashing.
Tekken
buttons.
7 has always been a game of friendly play and mash buttons if you don't know what we're not trained fighting game players. Fighting games are one genre you really can't fluff too much. You have to really know how to play.
What? So, did you grow up playing a lot of fighting games?
I did. I guess I did. Not so much. Like, it was weird. I got the regular Nintendo. I had Genesis. I had N64, which I played so many Mario games, like Mario Party. I was so addicted to Mario Party when I was like a young kid. I played so much Mario Party, and I really didn't start the fighting game stuff until I was probably about in 9th grade. Dead or Alive 4 was coming out, and that was really my first fighting game. Where DOA 4 was coming out as a launch title on the 360. So 360 was like a really big system for me, and my friend's like, yo, I think you should try this fighting game. You really like it. I saw the graphics for it. It looked amazing for being an Xbox 360 launch title. And yeah, I tried it, and I wound up playing it for 4 years, traveled the country, you know, hundreds of tournaments. So I dedicated a lot of time to Dead or Alive 4. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Niche fighting game, but you know, it was really fun. What?
Okay, so
oh, we double pick Lars.
I don't even know what are you saying? What is the words you just said?
Oh, I think did you go random?
I don't know what I did.
Oh no, I was saying we picked the same character. Cool.
Oh, okay. This guy.
Yeah. Lars is great.
Okay. Well, yeah, I totally picked him. I actually don't even know which one I am right now.
You were red.
Oh my gosh, I didn't.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So let's make this tough because we're playing a game. Combination.
Let's go.
No, come on. Okay. So what was this fighting game community for you? I mean, you've been in it. You've been in the fighting game, and you know, you've been a talent in many different communities, but like the fighting game and the sports simulation. Like, what is your most favorite genre to be a part of, and what community or shoutcasting or hosting?
Oh, it's like more like a talent perspective. You know, so I can't take much credit as a talent for really anything. I mean, you know, commentators maybe get a little bit more credit since whatever, but as a host, you know, I just try to bring fun and excitement to any genre that I'm a part of. And if I was to pick a favorite, I mean, I would say it's the NBA 2K community, only because of, you know, I come from an era of trash talking being not necessarily a negative trash talking. No, let me start there, but more of like an in-game trash talking. Great job. And NBA 2K seems to embrace that stuff a little bit more, and I kind of resonate with that a little bit, just from where I kind of come from. So for me, it was kind of nice to, you know, when I would go to other hosting events, they'd be like, hey, you know, make sure you show up in the suit and so on. When I went to the production meeting at 2K, they were like, bro, you're fired if you show up in a suit. Like, don't even, like seriously said that. Like, day one, if you come, you're not going on stage in a suit. So, like, they were like, please have your tattoos out. And
oh, nice.
And so that was kind of like, I got to feel like a talent. Wow, great job. Good luck.
So close.
I got to feel like a talent, but I also got to feel kind of like I was, you know, still a member of the community, I guess, on a surface layer. So I really like NBA 2K and the trash talk and the heated rivalries. And so I love it.
So let's go back then to Rabies, and this is the persona before PaulyHype.
Yeah.
What I know I've heard the history, but like an audience for them, we've got about 16 people watching right now. What's the history of Rabies? Where did it come from? What was the change? Yeah.
Sure. You know, that's a great question, and I get asked it a lot. So as a competitor, you know, I started competing when I was 15 years old. I was on game battles probably when I was like 13 or 14 before I went to my first events. And I always was trying to come up with a unique identity. I've always really liked, you know, titles and so on, and trying to come up with identities. And I was going to make myself like, I always loved wolves. Like, they were my favorite animal growing up. And I would look at, you know, wolves, and I wanted to be like Wolf Guy or like the Wolf Man or like Wolf something. I couldn't, you know, that's the original name I tried to like formulate for myself in Halo 2. And I was just like, nah, you know, this really isn't working. You know, I was just gonna be Wolf. That was just gonna be my name. And I typed in wolf into Google, and the very first picture that popped up was a rabid wolf snarling at the mouth, and it said Rabies, like on the thing. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, this is the exact image I'm going for. And no one ever in the history of gaming has been named Rabies. So, you know, so I'm like, as a 15-year-old, I'm sitting there like, you know, I might be onto something here. And to be honest with you, as a player, the name really worked. The name really worked.
Sure.
Because people were like, what is this guy's name? Broadcast wanted to make me put me on the show. I was also trash talk, you know. And the reason why I fit into the brand was because I was a trash talker. I was someone that liked elevating the emotions of the lobby. I was someone that liked getting in the head, not trash talking in a negative way. I want to clarify that for anyone that's casually watching. Not, you know, we're not talking about personal trash talk. I always kept trash talking in the game. I made it about the game, like no different than you would see on a basketball or a baseball field. And you know, so I became Rabies, and then after competing under Rabies, I did a bunch of TV shows under Rabies. I did a lot of stuff. When I started hosting and commentating, you know, my agent, great guy, Justin Jacobson at the time, was kind of going around and you know, trying to talk to different leagues to get me, you know, gigs and so on. And he calls me up one day, probably around like 2019, somewhere around the 2K league. And he was like, hey, you know, Paulie, I love you, man. But I need to give you some feedback here. You know, I'm talking to companies and they want to work with you. They want to employ you, but they don't like the name. They don't want the name. They don't enjoy the name. The companies, literally the parent companies, the brands, they don't want to employ that name. And it was really hard to hear because, you know, obviously it was my brainchild, my first thing as a kid. But I literally just sat there that day and he called me up, and right after I hung up that phone, I was like, all right, well, Justin, I'll think about it. You know, he's not telling me to do it. He's just providing a recommendation. And so I told him I would think about it. And that day I was just sitting there, and I've always been into WWE and wrestling. That's honestly, if I was not in gaming, I probably would be trying to pursue talent in WWE or the wrestling industry somewhere. And I was just sitting there and I'm like, well, my name's Paul, so maybe we start there as a base. And what do you do? What's your profession now? What's your game? And it's hype. You know, wow, nice hit right there.
How did I get out of that?
Oh, good low crush.
Oh my god.
Weasel. Nice, good stuff. Yes. So I was just sitting there and I'm like, Paulie, what do you do? Hype. Wow, Paulie's the name, hype's the game. So 2019, I rebranded to PaulyHype, and you know, I had to tell a lot of people what I was doing and explain myself over again. But you know, luckily so far for me, I feel the rebrand has worked. And
because of your northeastern from the New York area, was Paulie something your parents called you? Was Paulie like a normal, like, hey Paulie, what's up, man? Or was Paulie more used because of 2019?
Yeah. It's a little of both, but it really was just used for 2019. I was going to be, you know, make PaulyHype, but it just didn't roll off the tongue the same. I felt PaulyHype had more of kind of like a WWE-ish name to it, you know. It was like, and honestly, the reason why I went with the Y, because I did juggle. It's a great question. I did juggle back and forth with that a lot. And I know maybe some people are like, well, that doesn't mean anything, you know, that's an easy decision, or just think about it quick and make a decision. But for me, I kind of juggled back and forth because I was like, well, if an announcer was to ever announce my new name, and now this is just how my brain thinks, but if an announcer was ever to announce my new name, you know, and now walking down to the ring, PaulyHype, I don't know, to me it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't have that ring. Coming down to the ring, PaulyHype, and it kind of just,
that's cooler.
It rolls off the tongue a little bit better. So for me, that was always the driving force why I stuck with the Y. All right, let's see here.
Law is who I played with the most, and I did a backflip. He is the guy that was the blocky character that I definitely played with in
Tekken 1, 2, and
arcades,
Tekken 1 and so on. Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh, good jump. That's a nice low. I don't think he has that in Tekken. I don't know if he has that in Tekken 8.
I'm just trying to be variations.
Yeah, no, this is great. No, this is a lot of fun.
I'm pretty bad, like at Smash and Brawlhalla with my kids.
Sure.
I am the worst.
Well, the games are hard, man. Fighting games are hard.
Yeah.
Fighting games are very, very difficult. I think they're one of the most underrated in terms of talent recognition genres of esports. Because it really is like, you know, other games, they're team-based. You can maybe rely on a team. You can get away with some games performing bad while your team is performing well and get the win. And in fighting games, you can never do that. You have to show up every single time as your own entity and be on every single time if you're going to win.
Oh, this is tough. My wrist is killing me.
What are you doing? You got to play with two hands.
I am. It's on my right wrist. Your right wrist is never over here on your keyboard. It's over on my mouse, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so yeah. Slide your elbow closer.
Well, I have a large, massive body, so getting it across there
that's
is
fair.
so. So when we met, I think we really first met at Esports U stuff. I think
Yeah, yep.
back in 2022, 21 maybe.
Yeah. That's when I
You,
joined the company full time. I was
yeah,
working with you guys a little bit before then at the virtual stuff and so
yeah.
on. But
You
that is
didn't
when-
you host the virtual first CECC?
Yeah, CENC is what it was called. It was the
CNC.
Esports National Championship
Yeah.
for that first year. And wound up rebranding to CECC the second year. But I done the virtual event with CENC in 2021, and then I did their first ever. What was it? That LAN at.
We were in Indianapolis, or we were in South Bend. South Bend.
South Bend.
Yeah,
South
that
Bend.
was
It
crazy.
the first one we did, and then after that, I really started talking to Angela about joining the company full time.
Yeah. And so, no, then let's before this, you were doing stuff at 2K. I want to go back to 2K as well. Were you to 2K's PaulyHype or as Rabies?
I was still Rabies at 2K, and when I was talking to, like one of their lead producers there, I remember like one of the days on the set, him being like, "Wow, great stunt on the wall." I remember him being like, "Oh, where's Rabies?" but just like having a disdain to his voice while saying that. So like I could, now that I look back on it, I'm just like, "Oh, I see. They probably had issues. We could chill for a second too. Probably had issues with the name, but they were always really cool to me, and that wasn't something I really focused on changing until after I left 2K League.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, like as a player, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Yeah,
as a player, Rabies
that's
is.
what everyone told me.
Yeah.
Everyone told me. As a player, it
Yeah.
makes sense. There's no, it's a great, whatever. It's a unique name for a player. But when you're talking about, and the one thing that I think really resonated to me, somebody was giving me feedback is like, and it's not that it's he said, is Walmart ever going to hang a Rabies banner? And I know that might sound pessimistic, but at the same time, you have to be realistic when it comes to brands. And if you had 10 million followers, could Rabies get a banner? Maybe, maybe if you had a big enough following, you under a certain name, you maybe be able to do something. But is that also the image I want to portray? It's a negative sounding word. And Fatality is one of my closest friends. And I actually called him and mulled this over with him a little bit. Like, yo, Fatality, what do you think about me? Should I change my name? Just getting like passive feedback. What's the consensus here? And he shared some wisdom on me as to he actually suffered a lot of the same things. His name was Fatality. His name was a hard connotation type of name. So he had a lot of great feedback in terms of stuff like that. And he was just kind of like, Fatality is one that's on the cusp where like you can maybe get away with it here and there. But in the end of the day, his feedback was really instrumental because he went through a lot of the same exact stuff.
Had he been, if you ever talked about this with him, had he ever been a Mortal Kombat esports athlete? How would that fit in?
He said his name came from Mortal Kombat. His name came from Mortal Kombat, and that was like one of his first ever favorite games.
I think he told
growing
me
up,
that,
and that's actually where Fatality came from.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he was obviously big at Unreal and Quake and all that stuff back in the. It's funny because I've been researching a ton of esports from 2000s, 2010s, and he's obviously in there quite often. Oh my gosh. Come on, help me. Oh gosh. So that character, man. See, that character in Tekken 1 did not look like this. It looked like it's just so funny. Oh my gosh, you gotta throw me against the ropes. That's funny. I'd love to figure out the combo for like grabbing you. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing.
1 plus 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 4 here.
What?
That should be a grab. I think so. Like, I don't know.
Oh, that's right. I'm just holding down. You're right.
Yeah.
I
So
forgot
like
about that.
it's a lot of Tekken is double button input. So like I plus U or 3 plus 4 like that. So one of the grabs are a combination of 1 punch and 1 kick button.
That's right.
At the same time.
Oh, okay, like that. That was a pretty powerful. Okay. That's right, I forgot. Okay, I remember now. I'm just trying to get a hit.
Oh.
So I was gonna ask you about Halo.
Sure.
And your love of Halo. What all versions, what's your favorite Halo game?
Yeah. So Halo, obviously, the first three are the ones that are big in my heart. Halo 1 was the first ever game I got for Xbox Original. So like Xbox Original, I remember going to the Toys R Us launch, waiting 6 hours outside at the Toys R Us launch day.
Yeah.
And the bundle that they had, the initial Toys R Us bundle, and it was the only way to buy the system at the time, was a $4.99 bundle. It was $500. And you had to. Oh, nice! I finally got a win.
Dang, nice.
That was my first achievement win.
There we go.
It was $500, and it came with 2 controllers and 3 games. So I wound up getting Halo Combat Evolved, Project Gotham Racing, which was a launch title, new IP on 360 on Xbox,
Yeah.
and I got Munch's Oddworld Odyssey. So those 3 games that I got the very first time ever. And I remember taking that console home. I want to say I maybe missed school or so. And my grandpa really hooked me up with that one. He really hooked me up. And you know, I remember booting up that console, and I think Oddworld was really the first game I played. And when I just looked at the graphics of this game, it was amazing. So eventually, when I got over to Halo, I think that same night my cousins came over and we co-opted Halo for like 8 or 9 hours straight, and we beat the campaign. And it left such a lasting impression on me. I actually, before Halo 2 is the one I started competing in, but before Halo 2 came out, there was a way to bring your original Xbox, like maybe a year or two after Xbox was already out. There was a way using a program in your computer called Xbox Connect to basically jimmy rig your Xbox console to have online access. It was Xbox Live before it had ever come out. And the Ogres, top 2 winning Halo team, they were practicing on this, would bump into them. Like anybody that was a really serious competitor, anyone that had already been going to those early first day MLGs, they were all on Xbox Connect, and I was only learning about it. And I remember fighting some of these people and being like all me and my friends, we all thought we were amazing. We were playing 4 players split screen, and like we went online and we got destroyed by these people. There was this one team called the Pepsi team. It was like vanilla Pepsi, cherry Pepsi, they all whatever. But they just, so many teams destroyed us on there, and I got my first taste of competitive gaming very, very, very early. And I realized that, man, I thought we were good, and there's a talented community out there that's way better than us. So when Halo 2 came out, I really took that game seriously.
Love Halo 2.
Halo 2 is just the best game by far in the franchise, obviously, right? So I just took it really seriously, and I met some guys from school that became my best friends to this day, and in real life. And they were telling me that they compete on this website called Game Battles, and they actually do compete already and so on. And I wound up trying it, and I loved it. I took off to it immediately. The communication, the teamwork, the chemistry, working together. I loved it so much. And Halo 2 being an amazing game made the experience so much better too. Yeah, Halo 2 is definitely the favorite.
Halo 2 is the favorite. I mean, that's the game. That's the game title where I put holes in walls with my roommate because I'm so mad that the stupid sticky bomb got me on. What's the mode? What's the map? The lockout or?
Yep. Lockout's the best map in the game.
Oh my gosh, I played that.
That's the best made map almost ever in FPS.
Quit screen watching, bro.
That was a thing, right, in those early days of gaming, the screen looking. But Halo was just an amazing, memorable experience.
Oh my gosh!
Especially being like the first times I ever competed against like actual people. Like I did an Xbox Connect, but Game Battles Halo 2 was like more official. So when I got to do that, I was just like so hooked to the competition. I really only got into gaming, to be honest with you, because I wanted to do sports in school and I was scared to try out for them.
Okay.
I really only got I got a lot of my height and so on. I hit puberty very, very late in life. And I always wanted to be in sports, and I did basketball and lacrosse in 10th grade, but I was just somewhat of a timid person growing up, and I was just shy. I was scared of showing myself to the world, and I kind of went into gaming because I saw that there was a way I could compete still and not like have my face or my body like on the on the game. And I don't know, there's something about that. Maybe something about that I don't know, like hiding myself kind of let me just be, the gamer tag and not Pauly. And
I've seen middle school photos of you and of your glasses, and your lanky body. Oh yeah.
Very lanky. Very lanky.
That middle school life of unsurety and in your confidence.
Yeah,
I was there.
And it was a real deal. Gaming gave me an outlet to kind of prove myself that I felt maybe wasn't there in the real life at the time. So for me, I really, I really took to it, and I went to my first tournament was Evo East 2016, and my first LAN was Evo East 2016 offline event.
Yeah.
And I took third place despite hands dripping in sweat, fucking yeah, and terrified out of my mind.
Yeah.
I took third place, and I never looked back. I think I traveled to like 20 or 30 events that year, between maybe online and offline. I went to probably 20 or 30 events, and I took it with stride. I just went off the rails with it. There was some tournaments, even like C3 in Virginia, where, after Halo, I got into Gears, and Gears was a game that I loved as well.
Sure.
I put so much time into Gears. When Gears was coming out, that was like the next revolutionary game after Halo. Like that was the first Microsoft IP that was like, other Halo fans were like, damn, like this looks freaking cool, But I would go to tournaments, and a lot of tournaments, for some reason, just back in the day, Gears of War always found itself at fighting game events for some reason. So I would go to tournaments and compete in DOA and Gears. I'd win DOA, take third in Gears, and I was probably one of the only gamers at the time entering two major genres of gaming and placing, top 8 essentially in them both.
Oh, dang.
Yes.
This guy's got a sword. Come on, I should be winning.
Yoshimitsu is great.
So what am I doing?
That's a spin that does take your life, but it's evasive. You use it like one time and it totally gets you out of the picture. But it does take your life, so you got to kind of
crazy. Okay, yeah, that's crazy. What is it going to take for Halo to really be a collegiate title, that besides what it is now, but like what's it going to take for it to be up there with Overwatch or Valorant?
I don't know if it ever will be. Unfortunately, I'm of the belief. Wow, great job.
Ooh.
Oh!
I have no idea what I just did. Oh, please. There we go.
Oh, nice.
I'm standing on my sword.
Yeah, that was sick. Halo Infinite has gotten into college, which is it's a free-to-play game. I think that's college's niche in terms. It's a good fit for it, being free to play, and giving any college essentially having access to it. I honestly don't know. The Halo games haven't felt like themselves for a really long time. They got away from just what they were building, and I know it's a new company and so on with 343 Studios, but they got away from what they had built in 1, 2, and 3. And I just think that this is gonna go through.
Oh,
Nice.
No!
Ray,
Come on!
I didn't know
Come on.
rage arts were in this game. I'm dead.
Oh my gosh! I have no idea what I did. I have
sick.
no idea what I did. Do what I do.
That's a rage art. That's like you supered me essentially.
Yeah, actually, I meant that.
Play super in this game. Oh, you have EX meter in this game.
Whoa! What did you just? Oh, I'm stabbing you.
Nice. There's a grab.
What in the world?
Nice. Yeah, so I mean, Halo needs to reinvent itself. Halo needs to reinvent itself. It needs to get back to the things that made Halo great. Like, make Halo great again, Like, and I say that because the first time I booted up Halo 2, one of the things that was so impactful on that, well, not only just having the fact that you have just some great maps in Halo 2, but the first thing I ever did in Halo 2 was the clan match. And there was clan match, and games I didn't remember, but in the early 2000s, a lot of games, every game, it wasn't just friendless. It was like you had clans built into the games. And it really, I know you can do all that stuff through Discord and stuff today, and you can still do clan matches, and we obviously have competition higher levels than ever. But having the stuff in the game to where you could queue as your clan into a ranked clan match with these awesome, I don't know if you remember the Halo 2 icons, the level icons. They were just like, it was a revolutionary ranking system when it had come out. And they got away, Halo has gotten away from a lot of the fun things that made people love their game.
No! Oh, I did it! What? Hit buttons! Oh my gosh!
Man.
Wait, do I win? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my god. That was
great,
2-2 right there.
So those rage arts eat a hit or two. And as long as you have the
gosh.
health to eat the hit, it'll go off.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. That was fantastic.
Oh
but Halo's gotten away from those fun things that made the game great. The ranks, the clan match, the proximity chat. I remember the very first game we booted into Halo. I was camping outside the base of the other team. We had to play assault. We had to plant the bomb in the base. And I was outside, and they're like, where are they? You can hear them in proximity chat in the game. So I'm listening to our enemies, and they're like, where are they? Where are they? Have you seen them? Can you see them? And I was just like, I'm right here, baby. Like I'm right on the, and they can hear you, and stuff like that was just made so many fun memories, honestly. So Halo has to reinvent themselves to get back to what they were. To answer your question.
Now, do you consider yourself when you consider yourself a pro player? Do you consider yourself a pro player in what title?
I was just a pro player in Dead or Alive, Gears of War, and Halo. I competed. I traveled. Went to the first ever Halo 3 LAN in Nashville. Placed pretty well there, but I wasn't a pro. So I would just consider myself Gears of War and Dead or Alive. Halo was kind of like my training wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dead or Alive the most. Dead or Alive was my biggest game. I was top 10 nationally ranked for multiple years straight. I did 2 TV shows for Dead or Alive. I was competing on a ton of different tournaments, both online and off. Oh, Devil Jin's a great character. So Dead or Alive by far was my biggest accomplishment in Gears was placing 4th at the very first MLG online tournament before the MLG Pro Circuit had actually been announced.
Okay. Now let's go since this to wrap up here. What this mode to go back into collegiate as a player?
Sure.
What? You know, you're old. You're like in your 20s.
Yeah.
You know,
30, 35, almost 40.
What?
Thank you, Bubby. Too kind.
Oh my gosh! What just happened? What just happened?
You
I
ducked
dodged
and interrupted before the second hit can come out. Amazing.
Oh
Great
my
job.
gosh! As we're talking about how old we are, I'm
right.
dodging kicks, and then you're annihilating.
You're great.
Oh god.
We're never playing Tekken, man. This is honestly, even just mashing, this has been a blast.
So the idea of going back to college and playing with Fisher.
Yeah.
Oh lord.
I need to get one here. Come on.
Oh yes!
Oh no!
Oh my god!
Wow! While Rising 2. Wow! What a hit!
Oh jeez. Oh,
This is so weird playing a Street Fighter character in Tekken.
The other guy?
Akuma. Yeah.
He's a Street Fighter character?
Yeah. He's a guest character, and he was in my. I think so. Tekken made Tekken Cross Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Okay, right. I've seen that. Game? Yeah.
So there was always a plan for Street Fighter, Tekken Cross Street Fighter to come out, but it never did. And I'm pretty sure Akuma being in Tekken 7 was maybe a reminiscent of that project that didn't come to fruition because Harada and Street Fighter, Street Fighter's.
I did it! Oh god!
Very good job.
God, man, this game is stressful.
Oh yeah, playing games.
Oh my god!
But to answer for Fisher, you know, I it's really weird how life pans out. I went to the first ever LAN event for Halo Infinite. So despite being in my 30s, I've still been competing and going to random tournaments, so on. I went to a LAN event for Halo Infinite, and Brian Hummel was someone who actually was on my team.
Okay.
For that LAN event, I had just met him. I think I messaged Twitter for like people that were going, and he wound up becoming on my team, and it wound up turning out that he was a whole part of this whole collegiate scene that he was like kind of telling me about. And I never had. We were joking around, we were playing Halo, and I'm like, man, I dropped out of college. I would would love to go back, and now that I know what I'm doing a little bit more and have my wits about me. And he was like, well, that option is that's could be an option. You probably have eligibility since you dropped out, and so I looked into that. I researched my own eligibility. I had it, and he was interested in me coming there to help start the program and help to start be a notoriety and a mentor to some of the younger gamers. And so that's what happened.
And so what did you are you still, and did you play specific titles?
I played Halo Infinite. I was on the Halo Infinite team the first season I was there. Did ECAC, did anything that did allow the online, I was a virtual student, so anything that allowed the online virtual students to compete, I did. I did that for a whole season. I think our other team won the national championship the last like 2 or 3 years straight. So
yes,
we were never beating them. We were always like the JV guys there in college. We were their scrim team. And And so yeah, but now I messed around with a little Overwatch last season, but this year I'm just kind of focusing on my studies and being like a mentor / like backup commentator for the program.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm still on the reserve list. I could play a game if there was something I wanted to play, but at the moment I'm just kind of focusing on my studies.
Yeah, I was just talking to Paradox News Aaron, and it was we were working on come on, no. Oh my lord, what was going on?
I wasn't fully crouched yet. No way.
No, what in the world?
What a hit.
Why were you sideways? Were you about to like flatten me?
I was trying to do this here, but every move, every single move in fighting games is based on a mathematic frame scale. So if this move has a certain amount of frames it takes to go from standing to crouching like it does, you can hit me in those frames while I am in the stage of transitioning from start to crouch, standing to crouch.
This is fun.
Love it.
Kwesi, what's up, Kwesi? Kwesi over in Ghana, the president of Esports in Ghana and Africa. What's up, man?
Oh, great. Yeah, I saw Chosen One doing a lot of stuff over there.
Yeah, Chosen One and Chris, I think they're gonna go back this summer as well. I was just talking. I just had on the show last week the group called, and you may have some input on this actually, because of your how you smack talk only in the game, and yeah, and I play a ton of basketball, so I totally get the smack talk.
Right.
I'm getting annihilated. I spoke with Annabelle. She created with her team Melanin Gamers. They created what's called the toxicity rating. So they're working with They're working with ESRB to add a rating system based on toxicity rather than just like the gameplay, because toxicity is a whole different thing, right? Like a League of Legends, how super toxic it is, and many games are super toxic. So it's based on a system that people survey on the toxicity. So, and she actually lives in Ghana right now. She's from London. I was talking to Kwesi. What's toxicity in gaming? Like, let's talk about that. Where do you see the line, and where should it be fixed?
People won't like my answer with this.
Okay.
I'm not of the same mindset in that regard. In my opinion, I'm seeing people on Twitter call for the banning of trash talk. That's just insane. That's just insane to me. And also toxicity is totally toxicity is totally subjective, which is also an issue with that rating system. That's totally subjective. But honestly, I would say that for me, I can't speak on other people. I don't know what their morals are, but my morals were always, as long as I keep it in the game, I am going to use my mental to throw you off. I am going to trash talk you. I'm not going to say that your clothes look poor and baggy and homeless. I never took it out of the game. That was my rule personally as a player. I always took it in. I'm better than you in Halo. I'm going to beat you. I'll snipe you with the sniper and then go woo and make sure you hear it. I'll make sure you hear it. So that was what my strategy was. Don't get me wrong. Do things get chippy when you trash talk? It does get chippy, but I never did slurs. I never did cursing. I never did derogatory marks about someone, a family, or anything like that. For me, it was always keep it in the game and let's throw them off the sticks, but do it in the game. And then afterwards, my other rule was always GG. Shake your hand, look you in the eyes, GG. It's all good. So those are my two rules. And despite being one of the more aggressive trash talkers in the game, and aggressive in terms of willing to start and initiate the trash talk in a match, I never took it out the game, and I never made it about anything other than the skill set that we were both imploring. So that was my rule, and that's what I've always stuck to this day. And so to me, as long as you do that, there's trash talk is healthy to some degree, and it can also backfire on you. That's the other thing about trash talk. I mean, they don't talk about that. They don't really talk about that. It's like if I trash talk you and and I've done this and that motivates you to then beat me, I'm the one who holds the L. So it's like, there's levels to it. In terms of like, once you take it out of the game, though, I think you've gone too far.
Well, I mean, I think this is the good educational thing we need to keep continuing to do in esports, for sure. Because we've had, I mean, gosh, I can't remember her name, but she was gonna be on a show a year or two ago,
Okay.
and her student got like reprimanded because he was dropping f-bombs or something. I can't remember her name. Her like
That's okay.
yeah. Anyways, but that idea, the talking about, and you, I think, have a good perspective on this in a multicultural relationship with your son,
Yep.
who is also
Yes.
biracial.
Yes.
And so, like, that idea of the slurs and the racism and the over hypersexualization and hyper domestication,
Sure.
that toxicity. I think that's where they really, them as melanin gamers,
Sure.
mainly African American and Black people from across. That's their
Yep.
kind of big focus. But that's
And
why I asked the line.
I'm on board with that. That's the that's the line. I mean, that's
exactly.
the line. I never. I guess my mom just raised me differently, maybe,
Sure.
but I never really got off on like saying those things or even like it was never. See, when people were like, oh, when that was coming out and it was getting bad or so on over the last couple of years, it was never a part of my vocabulary. I never had like any slip ups. I never someone that was on social media getting exposed for doing things like that. Because I never went near that line. I never went anywhere near it. It wasn't a fun line to me. And also, I had respect for a lot of my friends. Chosen one, Sebastian Burton, was someone that I grew up with. This guy was, probably he was the brother I never had growing up. Sebastian Burton, big time. And I remember, so many times where we would be staying up school nights. Hate to say it, but some weekends we'd be up 2, 3, 4 a.m. laughing, hanging out on Xbox Live. And what I learned from Xbox is like I never made a ton of camaraderie in real life. Don't get me wrong, I had friends and so on, but my bigger camaraderies were made through Xbox Live, through people I only heard their voice and so on, and made friends through that. And growing up with him, just and the FGC as a whole, the FGC whole is very, very minority, is very African American, is very like that whole culture that is FGC. And FGC was always a blend of all these cultures coming together and being and competing, and we had a lot of respect for each other from that. A lot of the major toxicity traits come from these team-based games, these 5v5, 4v4 games where, and I get that too. When you're with the boys or you're with the team, and you're all riled up, but you don't want to go near the racism. It's not even good trash talk. That's the other issue I have with it. The racism and all that stuff isn't even good trash talk. You're just screaming at that point, obscenities and so on. So it was never even it was never something I had to practice or go near, because I just never went near it as a person. And my best friend was Black, so I love this dude, and I never, I would never ever do anything to jeopardize my friendship with the people I were growing up from. Stuff like that. It's not worth it.
So where do you see esports? Actually, no, I don't want to go that. I want to go there. I want to talk about Heroic Game Day.
Sure.
I want you to. What was this?
Sure.
I love the video presentation you put out, the announcement.
Thanks.
It looks like a really cool organization. I'm pretty sure I've heard of them, or maybe somebody reached out to me a while back. But I'd love to learn more about your organization.
Sure. Yeah. So Heroic Game Day is basically a game-based learning tool. We are the first ever video game-based learning tool that's in the education system as early as the elementary level. And in fact, the elementary level is where good job. Elementary level is really where we focus at the moment for our game. And basically what Heroic Game Day is I don't know when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, the first ever games were like Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Backyard baseball. Where in the world was Common San Diego? Those are games that I played in school that my progressive teachers had put in, and they were really captivating. So Heroic Game Day basically takes all the skill. I'm gonna get this one. Low crush. Heroic Game Day takes all the skills that we like to learn outside of school. So when you're in school, you learn math, you learn science, you learn the traditional fundamentals. But what's one of the things that mostly parents and students all complain about that they don't get to learn in school? That's everyday life skill set building, financial literacy, leadership, communication, and so on. There's 20 or 30 life skills that we associate with that don't really get taught in school, that are just more about building up the workforce and building up the people that want to go into the workforce. And we believe at Heroic Game Day that lack of education has been something that has really been hurting America for a long time. And we think it's from the content material kind of being so outdated that this is why the education system is hurting. And our goal is to reformat and revolutionize that and show people that, similar to myself in school, that if you're able to attain and grasp the child through actual genuine subject matter, the learning comes for free. The learning comes automatic. The learning comes on their own, even to where we have children that take our heroic game day home, and outside of school, they play it outside of school. So we found great success that when you change the subject matter to align with building actual skills, workforce skills on top of the core science, math, science, and so on, students respond a lot better than just sitting at a chalkboard and digesting information.
Okay. I want to pull up the website.
Sure.
And Sebastian says, Rabies, keep it clean. The Rabies is a good trash talker. Keep it clean.
always keep it clean, bro. I always kept it clean.
Let's see. So I'm gonna pull up the website here. Game and
pull it up. Let's take a look.
Game day. I'll put it in the chat. Let's check this out.
Sure.
So Heroic Game Day. So it is an actual game.
It is an actual video game. So the video game is the curriculum.
Level up your life.
The video game is the curriculum. So when we go to schools, right now we're in about 20 or 30 elementary schools across the country, mainly in Ohio is our main base. Ohio and Texas are the main base at the moment, but we are launching in New Mexico soon. I'm working on building a New York home base here for a lot of, tech advanced schools here in New York. And we're going to be launching in India as well. So we're going international with this game. And basically what it is that you are a aspiring superhero and your teachers are superheroes as well. And they're superheroes in financial literacy, and they're superheroes in, building computer chips and technology. They'll be superheroes in, like this here, entrepreneurship and self-control and the stuff that we might passively learn from school from certain things, but not really brought to our attention unless it's home. So we focus on building skills that people in the workforce want to utilize. So you get the math, the science throughout the other 7.5 hours a day when you're at school. You get all those other topics. But the schools that play our game, 30 minutes a day is what the curriculum is. If the school implores that and enforces that, just 30 minutes a day of heroic game day. And it's games, mini games, challenges, all based around developing those core life skills that are outside the fundamental ones in school.
Yeah, soft skills are super important. Now, in this game, the creators of this game, how can teachers, like, there's other games like this that my kids have played, and my kids can only play it if they're playing it with their class, even.
Sure. Actually, here, pause it right here. Pause it right here.
Okay.
So this is really sorry, finish your question, Bob, and then I'll go on with what I was saying.
I mean, the idea of just for safety concerns, like my kids can only play with people from school, or their teacher. But then there's another guy who, Mr. Something Gearbox. I mean, years ago, he created a game where teachers can actually put questions in game, for students to answer, if they wanted to. I don't know where this direction goes. Otherwise, it's just what you guys have created. And I mean, this looks like Among Us right now. This kind of activity.
Yes, so we obviously inspired from a couple different games, but one of the core things that's about our game that other games. So let me answer this your first question. Okay. Basically, you the main goal when you sign up as a school, you get a school campus in game. So you get like this, in the intro scene, it's booting up the library with the books and so on. That's like the main right there. That's like the main campus. Essentially. And so every school gets their own campus. Now, we are also building a version of the game so that homeschool teachers can rent like 30 licenses and be able to give it to homeschool as well. And we are also going to have a free-to-play version of the game that is somewhat limited. This is the main campus here, but it becomes specific to each individual school. There is no way to communicate in the game outside of emotes at the moment. So we've played with a lot of different things, but keeping the children safe is our number one priority, obviously, in a video game. So at the moment, there is no way to communicate, even within school, through text or anything like that. So even if someone was to make a free-to-play account, first off, they're in their entirely own school, even if in the general population they are together. It is an MMO. This is an MMO. So, but generally, there's no way to communicate. There's no way to talk. The free to play is just for, we have initially had it to where only schools can sign up to this. But I brought up when I joined the company, I was like, there's a lot of students that are going to be out there that may not be in a school, might move around too much, might be, homeschooled or so on, that might want to get into this game. So I'm really pushing for them to get that free to play, even if it's a limited trial free to play version of the game out and get that out. Now, one thing that's unique about our game that's really incredible is that when we go back to the HVAC screen, which is what I was wanted to talk about, was that is an actual physical company. So right before the HVAC screen here, this is a physical company. So companies that we want to take subject matter from the people that are employing the workforce of the future. Yes. So we can take companies, regional-based companies, international-based companies. We've talked with Amazon, we've talked with Google, and we can take a company's full brand and put them directly into the game. So this is a custom HVAC mission that we designed that goes hand in hand with that HVAC company there in the front, technologies. I forget what the name of the company was before my time here.
Semiconductor.
Yeah, LA Technologies. And we're actually looking, we are going to be branding the game, and inside have branded quests from companies like UPS, from Google, basically want to start building the skill set that they feel like these are people that they can employ in the future. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to be some big, one big ad board or so on, but these are genuine quests that play into the softcore skill set, but then also showcase children other jobs that they can get into, jobs that they can learn. I mean, in this game, you build a computer chip in one of the missions. You physically build a computer chip. So, we send IRL certificates and in-game certificates when you do things like this. And we want to build a sense of accomplishment, achievement, and genuinely make children feel that this is an MMO that they could take with them throughout their early years as a gamer and learn the soft skills that we believe gaming and esports builds.
This probably has to be the best part of the game when I get into these games and they're this avatar in a world. If I can't jump and flip and double jump, then it's just not fun.
Right.
This 100%. Because you and I play plenty of World of Warcraft.
Right.
And I will sit around in Orgrimmar for hours talking to a friend, just jumping on building.
Right. And these are all things that we're developing. So we're still in a really new, it's still new, a lot of mind and math games great. And so on. But what's going to really revolutionize things is, one, all the companies that get involved over the years as we start to build this pipeline. But two is our esports mode that we have coming out. So I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this yet, but I'm going to talk about it. Screw it. It's okay. I'll take the heat. So Heroic Game Day so that first scene right here with the jumping around with the books, that's like the main map there essentially. And what we've done is that we've come out with, it's that same main town from the opening scene right here. Yep. And basically what we've done is we've come up with a 5-point land grab, much like a capture the points. And
cool. It's
5v5. And it can go up to like 30v30. So it's kind of like a Clash of Clans where a school can raid another school. And even if no one is participating from the other school, we'll have like bots and so on that can still do teamwork, still build communication, still work on doing that. And then you get points and so on and in-game currency for doing the raids. But if the other school is there, there's turrets that defend the points. There's, if you see here, go back to that screen for just 1 second. In the bottom right corner, there's 4 little abilities there. So we have a bunch of abilities in the game, throw wind, throw coins, throw food. And you can kind of make your build and your loadout that deters people from the points along with the turrets, and then the double jump and so on.
Wow.
So the 5v5 mode is going to be an official Esports Skills World Cup that we're going to do once we have more schools onboarded. But right now, up to like 30v30 or an entire classroom essentially could raid another school. And that is a 5v5 game mode that we're building.
That's so cool.
Because we believe in competition. We think competition breeds healthy rivalry. We believe that students should be learning about competition at an earlier age, and it prepares them for the real world in a major way, both learning how to deal with losing in competition, but also learning how to deal with winning in competition. So we think there's a lot of skill growing there on both sides of the coin, and that it helps, build communication amazing, build organization, leadership skills. You have the in-game leader. Who's going to be telling us where to go? So these are all things that as early as 5 years old, students can start learning, and it's in school. It's not like you can take this home, you have a way to log in at home and so on, but this really is for in school. And the secret to this game and what is so amazing about it is that, I don't know if you know this, Bubba, but in all the elementary schools, which is our focus at the moment, they don't have much technology. It's Chromebooks, it's iPads, it's very low end stuff. We built this game 3 different times, actually. And the first 2 times we built it was too powerful of a game. It was too powerful of a game for these 4 gigabytes of RAM Chromebooks that students are playing. So we actually reverted and rebuilt the entire thing as a web browser game that's built on Unity. So it's a Unity web browser game is our new build now, and it works on any Chromebook in the planet. People in India have GeoBooks it works on as well. Wow. And we are working on building it was one of the main challenges of the company was to build a game that works on this simpleton technology that unfortunately our students kind of get stuck with. But so we're making it work for every elementary school on the planet, almost despite their technology. If they have a PC, any sort of laptop, a Chromebook, or an iPad, you can get into our game and start evolving the way your students learn.
I love that, man. That's huge. The Chromebook conversation I have with people in the tech and the AV industry, about students and access to be able to compete in esports or have games and have those gaming clubs is
the biggest hurdle at the
battle.
Right, biggest hurdle.
And I constantly hear people like, oh, we've got to emulate Windows or something on our Chromebooks just to be able to play League of Legends or Valorant or whatever on these things.
Right, and those games are honestly they're not even. Most of these Chromebooks, when you research them, they have Intel graphics onboard processing units. They have very very base layer stuff. And actually, I really want to talk about one of the challenges that we face as a company when talking to schools, because it's kind of a severe one. Okay. We have all the schools that join on with us. We have something called hero schools. Everything in heroic game day is hero and heroic because we genuinely believe that our education system is falling so far behind. And that's our biggest deterrent across other countries, as to where you look at someone like China has only boosted and bolstered their education system. And we see the output of a country like theirs. I'm just using an example. We see the output of a country like theirs. And we believe it's from the lack of attention at the educational level as early as, we have science that shows as early as 3rd grade students checking out of school, meaning they're no longer paying attention. They're not connected to the subject matter. They're having trouble focusing. So we have math as early as 3rd grade children checking out. And also a lot of one of the main things that we push for at schools is that we want the Chromebooks to go home with these students, or whatever device that you supply to the students. We argue that they need to go home with them every night. They need to go home with them over summer break. They need to go home with them all the time. A lot of these schools are valuing $150 Chromebook, $200 Chromebook over the learning and retention loss of our children. They're not sending them home because we verbatim from school's mouth. We don't want to lose 10 to 20% every year from them not coming back for the ones that we send home. So instead, the summer slide is a big one. And the summer slide is that students lose 20% of their reading skills and 27% roughly of their math skills over the summer, doing nothing, hanging out, playing. We want the Chromebooks to go home to reverse this summer slide. But a lot of schools won't send them home because they're worried about a couple $100 Chromebook retention loss instead of the education of our own children, which pilot the entire country. So that's one of our biggest forefronts that we fight with, is how do we get more? And some schools are amazing. Those are our hero schools. They send them home all year round. They let the students play if they want to play, and so on. So we're trying to get to a point where schools are willing to innovate. Schools don't want to prioritize a $200 Chromebook over the education of our children. Yeah. And how do we bridge that gap here as we see some of the foundational figures in our company here? That was Thomas Reed just speaking. He's a 40-year educator in the space. But we run into a lot of hurdles with these schools, and a lot of them prioritize budget over the learning of our children.
Oh, yeah,
that's
of course.
Trying to get changed.
Yeah. Man, I know we could talk about that for a long time. So
right.
Well, I appreciate this because I think, and as we wrap up here, I think I see a game that was created by people who play games.
Right.
Because I look at all the different styles of gameplay and the different looks. I see multiple genres, to be honest.
We have a little Fall Guys inspired mini game coming out. So we have a lot of different stuff that we're going to be adding into the game. We're still in our early phases. We just added everyone gets their own personalized little Animal Crossing island with a bunch of different items, from certificates that you get in the game, from trophies you get in the game, from doing those HVAC missions and so on. You will actually get physical company certificates to display on your island, to display in your summary, if you will. And we're going to make it so that at some point, social media is a tough aspect for children. This is a tough area of our company, but we want to make a shareable report card that has these certificates that you can show. Hey, I worked for Google and completed a Google certificate as early as 5 years old.
Wow.
When I was growing up. And if you were to pull that out on an interview like 20 years later, like wouldn't that be something very impactful or so on? So we really want to build the workforce of tomorrow and do it through education, through gaming.
Love that. PaulyHype, man, I appreciate you teaching me some Tekken, and I love getting a chance to hang out with you, dude. And
you too, man.
Man, if there's ways, just tag me on stuff on social so I can push those, push your posts, man, and or send them to me in DMs or whatever. That's a really great program.
Thanks, Bubba. It has been such an awesome year. I know it took 3 seasons to get on here. I was kind of checked away from doing any sort of like things for a little bit. I just was kind of doing my own thing, but I'm so happy to be here, and it has been always a blessing to talk to someone like you who's always at the forefront of so many different areas as well, especially not coming from being a pro gamer space to just totally diving in it. You're someone that truly, I've always taken the stance of, you're not in esports, you're not a long-time gamer, you're a stranger here. But I got to give credit where credit's due to people that actually put in the work, because you can work your way into the industry. And you're a prime example of someone that has covered every facet of the industry and done so much work. So we're blessed to have you, man. And thank you so much for inviting me.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Bubba. It's truthful.
All right, dude. Well, stay amazing. I'm going to shut down the show, and I will catch you next time, brother.
All right, Bubba.
All right.
See you later, man. Peace.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today and watching some Tekken and hanging out and learning about Heroic Game Day. Check out, I put Heroic Game Day in the chat. Looks like a really cool platform. I'm excited to get to know more about it and maybe help promote it. But thank you guys again for being here. Really appreciate you. On Friday, we're actually going to be with BJ Fink, and we're going to play some StarCraft 2. Thank you to all the people who came in the chat today. Kitty, Quessy, Kyle, Kyron. About 34 people in the chat today. Thank you so much. And tomorrow, we'll be having any Rave Esports shows, but we'll be having episodes coming in June, Rave Esports show. And then it looks like next week I will be in Texas. So there'll be no invite sent next week. I will be in Texas at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Thank you all. Stay amazing. See you next time. See you later. Bye.